So The Simpsons just aired a fake finale, but it got me thinking, how would I end the show if I was in charge? Let me explain.
It's such an honor to be with you all for the series finale of The Simpsons.
What's up guys, Mike here. Welcome back to my channel for more pop culture content. Hit that subscribe button right now. All right, let's get into it. So as I said at the top, I did a video all about the Simpsons fake finale episode that was actually the premiere of season 36. It was a great episode. I thought it was so creative and it got me excited about this season of The Simpsons moving forward.
This isn't supposed to happen. I'm 10. I'm turning 10. I've always been 10.
That being said, this whole concept of the fake finale was so curious to me because it did get me thinking there is probably a point where The Simpsons, as we know it, as the continuously running animated series for 36 years, comes to an end. And I do want to clarify what I mean here because I personally believe that one day The Simpsons will end as a show, but The Simpsons will always exist until like the end of time now. Just because as a brand and the characters are just so universally familiar, like I think they will continue to exist in the future the same way like the Muppets exist or the Looney Tunes exist, right? I think they will just become perpetual figures of popular culture even if the show stops.
I started out as Roadrunner.
Meep. You mean meep meep?
No, they only paid me to say it once.
And in that sense, I think they might end up being like in short animated things or spin-off TV shows, and the brand will like continue to live on after the official show stops. But with that out of the way, like how would I go about writing a series finale to The Simpsons? Because this episode that we just had, Bart's Birthday, is like a send-up or a parody of what sitcom series finales are, you know, like wrapping everything up in a nice bow and like doing significant things to mark like an ending. And I have a few ideas of how this could work, but I think it will be almost impossible for The Simpsons to ever actually nail this.
This will be the last season.
One idea that's floating around, and I actually think this idea comes from Al Jean, one of the original writers and showrunners of The Simpsons, but I could be wrong there. It was definitely a staff member on The Simpsons who suggested that the series finale could actually be like an infinite loop that leads back into the first episode of The Simpsons. That first episode, Simpsons roasting over an open fire, starts with Homer and Marge going to Springfield Elementary School to watch the kids perform in like a school concert.
Oh, careful, Homer!
There's no time to be careful, we're late.
I actually don't mind that idea, and I think it would be funny that the series becomes like an infinite loop, but I don't know what the episode is around that and how it would be more special than just the time loop. Plus, I hazard a guess that a lot of like young people who watch the show now never saw the original episode, right? So I don't know if that would particularly work. One other interesting piece before I get into my ideas is the idea that a previous episode, Holidays of Future Past, which is obviously a reference to X-Men's Days of Future Past, which is great, was actually written as a emergency series finale. And it was really well received when it came out. It's one of those in the future episodes where like we see Bart, Lisa and Maggie all grown up, as well as Homer and Marge now elderly, and grandparents to Bart and Lisa's children.
Our first Thanksgiving since Homer passed away.
More turkey, please.
That was another great episode, but to be honest, my idea, I think, is a little bit more grounded, but also maybe not quite what you would expect. And I'm not gonna lie, it could be controversial what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna put it all out there. This is my idea. So let's just say hypothetically, The Simpsons is announced to be finishing at the end of like season 40. That's a pretty good run. 40 years, the same voice actors pretty much the entire time. Like, you wouldn't be disappointed with that.
This is the worst day of my life.
And for the very last episode, I wouldn't do like a big finale featuring like the entire supporting cast in the way that like Bart's Birthday sort of sent up.
Surprise! Happy birthday!
I would spend the whole 40th season doing episodes that kind of wrapped up different recurring characters' stories, but not in like a sappy, overly self-indulgent way. And for the last episode, I would save it to actually be a little bit more insular and predominantly just featuring the core Simpsons family.
Are we cured yet?
Don't be ridiculous. You will be cured, but it's going to require somewhat more unorthodox methods.
And here's the part that people might not like, but I actually think this is the perfect way to end the show, and I've always felt this way. I think the premise of the episode is that Grandpa Simpson dies.
Shut up!
bombshell, I know. I think this works in a few ways because there has to be this sense of finality and big change to make the episode significant, but obviously you can't kill off anyone from the main family. Like, it doesn't make sense for Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, or God help us, Maggie to die. In which case, I think it needs to be another significant family member of The Simpsons, of which the only one really is Abe Simpson. And when you think about it in context, The Simpsons was always like a send-up of American culture, American family life, American middle-class life, and just being in the United States of America. Every character is a satire or parody or send-up of an existing sort of trope in that society, whether that be Mayor Quimby, the sleazy politician, Krusty the Clown, the washed-up celebrity, to Fat Tony, the Italian mob boss.
Where's the money? When are you going to get the money? Why aren't you getting the money now? And so on.
Like, the whole thing is like a meta about being an American, or just being in a middle-class family sort of society, or like just existing in Western society. Like, I related to The Simpsons a lot, and I grew up in Australia and am Australian.
Hey, Mr. Prime Minister!
And I think losing a grandparent is such a fundamental part of a child's life. It's often our first experience with death, and it's one of the first times maybe we see our parents being very vulnerable. And generally, grandparents like love and adore their grandkids, so it really does feel like this massive loss when a grandparent dies. And I think Grandpa being on his deathbed not only brings the Simpsons family closer, but also allows a lot of character development, particularly in Homer.
Grandpa, Homer. Grandpa, Homer.
I would really love the final scene to be Homer and Grandpa kind of bonding, and Grandpa kind of finally opening up and emotionally sort of telling Homer that he's really proud of the family that he's built and the things that they've been able to do and what Homer has been able to achieve, and that Homer is a better father than Abe ever could have hoped to be, and those kinds of words.
What's wrong with your wife? Never mind, you wouldn't understand.
And even though it might come across as like way too sappy and emotional for this show, The Simpsons and Matt Groening's wider work has never shied away from being really human and really vulnerable when it wants to be. Ranging from episodes like And Maggie Makes Three with that iconic Do It For Her ending.
Don't forget, you're here forever.
Even when Homer meets his mother for the first time, but they are separated again.
You'll always be a part of me.
And even going over to Futurama with episodes like Luck of the Fry-Rish, when Fry finds out his brother named his child after him.
Here lies Philip J. Fry, named for his uncle, to carry on his spirit.
I think seeing Abe and Homer make peace together would be really, really beautiful and would help Homer go back to his family and try his best to be the best father he can be. And I don't think we need to see like a flash forward where now Homer has lost a lot of weight and quit drinking and is a really hands-on active father. I don't think that would happen, but I think there's just subtext that Homer really appreciates this moment with his dad. Because when I really sit down and think about it, I think that Homer's relationship with Abe is a big part of why he is how he is.
We've got a whole system set up to keep people like you from ever becoming president. Quit your daydreaming, melonhead!
He didn't have a steady upbringing with a loving mother and father. He had a mother who walked out on him and a father who didn't care about him at all and was suffering from PTSD from the war and who drank a lot and didn't care about Homer. I think recognizing those traumas in Homer, who is the core of the series, would be a really special thing for a viewer to see. Especially for someone like me, I grew up watching this show. I was like 5 years old and I remember sitting down watching The Simpsons on the TV. To finally get to this point, which I know we've seen glimpses of before, but to finally get to this point where we see a really, really raw and emotional side of the show, I think would be amazing.
Your whole life you never said one nice thing to me. That's 'cause you're a screw-up. You're the screw-up! You little...
And maybe it could even end with Homer reading the eulogy at Grandpa's funeral, and then this is how I think I would finally end the episode and the entire Simpsons in general. Say after the funeral, the Simpsons family are all in their suits and they get into the car and start driving home. I think Marge looks at Homer in the car and says,
How are you feeling, homie? You okay?
Homer looks at Marge and into the rearview mirror and sees the kids, and he says, yeah, I'm okay. Sorry, that was a terrible Homer impression, so I'm just gonna stop now. Then I think either Bart or Lisa says something like, what do you want to do now, Dad? And then Homer responds with, you know what? Let's all go out for frosty chocolate milkshakes.
Let's go out for frosty chocolate milkshakes.
Because that was Homer's original catchphrase back, I think, in the Tracy Ullman era of Simpsons shorts. And I think that would be a great full circle moment to come back to. I think then the Simpsons drive off into the sunset. Maybe the song Close to You by the Carpenters starts playing, which is the Homer and Marge theme throughout the series. And maybe we see Abe's face in a cloud, Mufasa style or something like that. And the credits roll. Anyway, those are my thoughts on how The Simpsons should end. That is basically me writing a finale for The Simpsons. So Simpsons writers, feel free to take that. Just, put my name in the credits somewhere. But if there's one thing I'm sure of, it's that I am really happy for The Simpsons to continue for many, many years to come. Whew, thank you so much. That was such a fun video to do. I want to do more videos like this, like writing like fake Simpsons episodes or something like that. I don't know. Let me know, what do you think of my finale? Put it in the comments, and what would you do? Like if you had to write one, just give me a loose framework of what your Simpsons finale would be. Subscribe to the channel for more pop culture content. I recently did reviews of every new Futurama episode. That's finished now, so you can go and binge watch them. Plus, I do a bunch of pop culture news and thoughts and editorials on this channel, so would love for you to check that out and check out any of my other content. All the links are in the description below. That is pretty much it from me though. My name's been Radio Mike. This has been The Inside of My Mind, and I will catch you later.